Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining today's webinar. We're just going to give more people a few minutes to join, and then we'll get started. Right. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining today's webinar session titled Getting Your Business Enterprise Compliant with the FIRS e-invoicing mandate, proudly brought to you by DigiTax. So who we are is we are an approved FIRS system integrator and access point provider, and we offer solutions to businesses, enabling them to be e-invoicing compliant. In this case, as you're aware, large enterprises are required to onboard and comply with the e-invoicing mandate, with the deadline being November 1st, which is just a few days away, actually, just 1 day away. So this webinar will just be informing you about the key insights that you need to know, the timelines and the solutions that are available for your business, enabling you to be compliant. We'll also be taking up any relevant questions from the audience that you may have. So feel free to type your questions in the chat, or at the end of the session, we'll allow you to raise your hand and we'll give you the mic to ask your question. So without much further ado, allow me to invite one of our panelists today, Rebecca, to take us through the next session. And we hope that you'll find this webinar insightful. Rebecca, if you can hear me, over to you.
Thank you, Belinda, and good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're all doing fine. Belinda, kindly confirm you can clearly hear me.
Yes.
Amazing. So allow me to share my screen.
Sure.
So let's see, slideshow. Amazing. Yeah, so thanks, Belinda, again for that bit of introduction. My name is Rebecca. I'm a product engineer here at DigiTax, and I'm going to take you through who we are as DigiTax, and also the solutions that we provide to the market in accordance to the new FIRS MBS initiative by the FIRS and Nigerian government. So as Belinda has mentioned, the deadline is November 1st. And so we just wanted to take this time and to take all the taxpayers or the available taxpayers through what exactly it means, and also the solution we provide as DigiTax to the taxpayer market. So I'm currently sharing my screen. The name of the company is Namiri Technology Nigeria Limited, but our flagship product is DigiTax. So DigiTax is the solution that we do provide. So for the purpose of this call, I'll be referring to us as DigiTax. And just a bit of an overview, and also as Belinda has mentioned, we have been accredited by the Federal Inland Revenue Service, that is the FIRS, as both an access point provider and a system integrator, following the new merchant buyer solution, that is the MBS solution, to just make sure that we are able to then streamline the tax compliance in Nigeria. Another important key detail is that we have also been registered and also approved as a Nigerian data protection, or rather by the Nigerian Data Protection Commission, that is the NDPC, as both a data commission, as a data protector, and also for data storage. So the main agenda or the main purpose for this particular initiative is to onboard, make sure that we onboard large taxpayers, usually taxpayers with an annual turnover of more than 5 billion naira. Those are the businesses that FIRS is targeting to be onboarded by the 1st of November. And so a bit of introduction about DigiTax is that we provide two solutions. One is the dashboard. We have DigiTax Dashboard that enables you to create invoices that are tax compliance invoices, fiscalized invoices. And then we also have an API mainly for businesses who would like to do a system-to-system integration using our API. Now, some of the key features that we have within our API is that we support at least 20 different languages. Those are programming languages. So depending on the type of ERP or accounting system or your internal inbuilt POS system that you are using, we're then able to just select from the 20 different supported languages, and you're able to then do the integration with that. Now, a key detail to mention here is that DigiTax does not necessarily do the integration on your behalf. This because one key reason is because we do not have a contract, like a direct contract with your ERP system providers. And so what you do is you work with your third-party providers, ERP third-party providers, or your developers, just to make sure that they understand our APIs, they understand the mandate, and they also understand like what exactly they need to implement. The second thing about the API is that you have a queuing and scaling mechanism, which allows us to support any amount of volume, depending on the number of sales or transactions that you create, either on a weekly, monthly, or even on an annual basis. So what we've done is we've taken a cloud-based approach. And so what that means is that we are able to then increase our internal resources to make sure that we're able to handle the capacity of all the transactions that you're doing. And then the third thing is we have an asynchronous functionality that automatically retries FIRS transactions. So usually what happens is if at any given point, and also showcase this in a demo, if at any given point you're trying to contact FIRS, because we have done the integration with them, so through our API calls, and for some reason their APIs are either down or intermittent, we then be able to hold on to that transaction once you have posted it has been saved on DigiTax, and we'll continue doing the retries for up to 25 times just to make sure that the transaction has gone through. So the good thing about this is it mitigates against duplication of invoices and also the tax obligation. So that way, once you have just submitted one invoice, you don't necessarily have to care about whether or not it has gone through. And you also don't have to like keep on submitting the same transaction over and over again. So DigiTax handles that heavy lifting for you. And then our dashboard, as mentioned, also functions as a backup ERP, and it also has like a sandbox access, which is also available on the API, which would allow you to explore the DigiTax features, test all your use cases or your scenarios just before you even start doing the integration yourself, even start using the dashboard at the production level. So in terms of our customer base, we have served up to 1,000 organizations who have enabled processing of at least 10 billion invoices, sales invoices and credit notes. So some of the companies that we currently work with, some of them are global companies. For instance, Glovo, we have Uber Eats, we have Mkopa. And so as you can see, it also cuts across like all the industries. So you're able to support all the industries from schools to insurance companies to financial institutions like Paystack. We have Afex, we have the dairy, we have PepsiCo as well. And also have references that can be provided on request. So we offer, as mentioned, 2 flexible implementation options tailored towards your workflow. So depending on the type of business that you run, depending on the type of, rather how flexible your business is, you're able to either use the dashboard, which is web-based and can be set up within like a few minutes, for 2 to like 24 hours, and you get started. So it has also like 2 options when it comes to creation of invoices. So you have the manual way of creating invoices. So if you don't have or generate lots of invoices, you can do that one by one. And it also has a bulk upload feature where you can bulk upload all your invoices, let's say, after your business days, so at the close of business, you're able to then generate those invoices using the bulk upload feature on the dashboard. Then the other option is the ERP API integration. So if you're also in a large business and you generate invoices quite frequently within a day, then you're able to do a system-to-system integration using our API. This is how the feel and look of the DigiTax dashboard, where you can generate your invoices and be compliant. So this is the UX. And the process of also like signing up to the dashboard to get started, it's pretty simple. We have like 5 steps. So you have the sign up process with your email. You can then create a profile, which I'll also showcase after this bit of the demo. You can add a business, and then you can go live and you can start generating your compliant invoices. So some of the advantages of using DigiTax is, one, as mentioned, the dashboard, but important to mention that it's also a multi-user dashboard. So what this means is that you're able to add as many stakeholders to the dashboard as possible. So if you've created like one DigiTax business and you'd like multiple stakeholders within your business to join or rather to have access to that business, so that they can perform different things within the dashboard, then you're able to do that. So you can add like, the finance person, you can add a marketing person, you can add the accounting person. You can add your CFO or something. So whichever stakeholders you'd like to add, you can then add them, and they're able to access the dashboard and also do multiple things. You can also add like external members of your team. So in this case, let's say auditors. So in this case, you're able to also give them like different roles, and they're also able to perform different functions. So for external auditors, for instance, you can give them like a regular role. So as a regular member, you're then just able to view the transactions that have been created within the dashboard, but you're not necessarily able to alter any data within the dashboard, which means they cannot create any transactions, and they cannot add any data within the dashboard. The second thing is on the bulk upload feature that I talked about, where you're able to create a backlog of all the invoices, and then you can upload them either by close of business, end of the week, or end of the month. And then the integration. So what you've done is so we've managed to simplify the integration by reducing the work by at least 70%. So this means is we've taken the APIs that FIRS has provided for us as a system integrator and also access point provider, made sure that you're able to infer most of the things from the customer input, and then you're just able to like provide the most essential data points that you need to give us. So that way it reduces the work to integrate by at least 60%. We have an online documentation that's publicly available, and the technical team can then just go through it, read all the guides that we have published, also test out the use cases and also the endpoints before they start the integration. In terms of the versatility, we support up to over 50 different ERP systems, so including custom built. We have Odoo Sage, accounting systems like QuickBooks. So also, as mentioned, that DigiTax does not necessarily do the integration, but you work with your engineers or any other third-party providers, make sure that they understand the system, and also make sure that the integration is done perfectly before you then go live. This is the solution architecture, a high-level solution architecture of how the invoicing system works. So we get the data from your invoicing system. That could be your ERP or your accounting system, any other accounting system. The data comes to DigiTax. So DigiTax is a system integrator, will generate the IRN and the QR code, and will also validate the invoice. And then we send that data to the tax regulator. So in this case, the FIRS. So FIRS will then sign that invoice, and then we're able to get back the data to DigiTax, and then eventually we'll send it back to your invoicing system. So this marks the complete process of integration. We have a testing environment. So as mentioned, they're both on the interactive API documentation, where you're able to test out the endpoints, and you also provision this on the dashboard. So once you create a test business, which I'll also showcase shortly, is that you're able to choose whether you want to create a live business, which will be mapped to the FIRS production environment, or you can also opt to select a test business, which will be mapped to a sandbox environment, which is essentially a clone of the production environment, a replica that is, but then you're just able to like do all those transactions, test out everything that you need to test out before you go to the live environment. And so, as mentioned, this is both on the API and also on the dashboard. In terms of the implementation plan, this is how it looks like. So if you're doing an API integration, that is a system-to-system integration with your ERP, we've seen other companies doing it at least in 4 weeks. So the plan is broken down into 4. So you have the discovery process, where you try and understand your system and also the operations. So this can be a shared task between DigiTax and also like your organization and any other stakeholders that you'd like to join that meeting. And then you have the process mapping, where the engineers will then map out the various FIRS integration points across your system, with also the help of other stakeholders within the business. And then we have the integration planning, which is also mainly carried out by the integration team. So to mainly outline the integration plan across the entire business, with also some support from DigiTax. And then we have the integration, which is then carried out by your integrating team, or your engineering team, or your other third-party team. So they do an end-to-end system integration of the DigiTax API in like 2 weeks. So this is the technical description. It has the technical API documentation, which we're also happy to share in the chat. So the technical team can then just peruse and look into what we have from the get started. So you have the guides to just make sure that you understand exactly how the APIs work and also what is required during the integration. One of the things that we pride ourselves in is in support. So we offer support in 3 tiers. We have the technical support, where we offer API-specific features that can be found in our public API documentation. We have the API onboarding guides and videos as well for the technical team. And we also offer pre, during, and post-integration support throughout the year. So from the previous slide when I shared the implementation plan, so this is where DigiTax comes in fully. Just make sure that we help you through that integration, and that is pre, during, and also post. In case you have any issues, you're also able to just reach out to us. The other one is a non-technical support, where you can have a dedicated communication channel. So this is depending on the business. We can either set up a Slack channel, a Teams channel, a Skype channel, or if you opt to do email, we can also support you through that. We also have a real-time chat with a support agent via intercom, a call center support, and also optionally, if you'd like, we can have a dedicated account manager who can help you during the integration. And of course, our support documentation, which highlights like all the features. We publish all the features that are supported on the dashboard and also the API. In addition to that, you also have like a change log. So in case anything changes in terms of the API, you're also able to publish that. But also just to mention, the changes are also backward compatible. So just making sure that we do not break your existing functionality. We also offer training, and that can be blended training with both workshops and also virtual sessions with both technical and also non-technical teams, video recordings of training, and also like, for instance, what we have currently, our webinar sessions, where we're able to just take people through DigiTax as a solution and also help them understand aspects that they might not necessarily know. We acknowledge that, it's not like a one-man job when it comes to this sort of integration, especially for large businesses. And so we do encourage cross-departmental integration engagement, which makes sure that even when you're having the different calls during different times, you're able to invite all your stakeholders to the call, just to make sure that you're able to get perspective from each member of the team, and so that we're also all on the same page and we're following all the policies and all the mandates that are in place, so that when the integration commences, everyone is also on the same page. So I guess I am going to stop there and see whether we have any initial questions in regards to this presentation before I do a dashboard demo. So not sure, Belinda, whether we have any questions in the chat or we'd like to open up for initial questions, or I can just proceed to the next bit.
There are no questions so far, but I'd encourage our audience to just, in case you have a question, please feel free to use the chat and we'll be able to tackle them. But I think, Rebecca, you can proceed with the demo.
Okay, thank you. So I will share this other tab. So this is the DigiTax dashboard. It's available on digitax.tech. You can find the access to the dashboard. So the process of creating a dashboard, an account on the dashboard is super simple. So you can either create an account using your Facebook account, your Google account, or your Microsoft account, or you can opt to do first name, last name, input your email address and also the password, then you can continue. Because you already have an account, I'll just go ahead and sign in. So once an account is created, you can then sign in, and you can sign in using your Facebook, Google, Microsoft, or email address and password. So I'm going to use my Google account. Then I'm going to choose that, my account, because I have multiple. And once I've successfully logged in, this is the first page that I see, which is called the profiles page. So a profile is a logical way of grouping businesses. So for instance, if you can give an example or a scenario, if you have a business within Nigeria and it has multiple branches across the different states in Nigeria, you can opt to just like create a profile, like one profile for each business if you'd like to handle them differently. Or you can also opt to create just one profile and then add all your, let's say, 20 businesses, if you actually have like 20 branches across all the states. So it's just like a logical way of grouping all those businesses. So you do that by providing a profile name, selecting the country. So we are currently in Zambia, Kenya, and Nigeria, because this is primarily like our main focus is e-invoicing. So we are in these three countries. So you can select Nigeria. Once you've selected, you can select the type of profile, whether it's a business profile or a personal profile. Then you save the profile. Now, as you can see from my view, I have some profiles with like one business each, and also have some other profiles with like 6 businesses. So it doesn't matter how you're going to organize your profiles, just depends on the business preference. So once a profile is created, you can click on the card and you get to the business page. So in the business page now, you can see the business card. And this is where you're going to add like your business credentials, including your business tax identification number, so that you're able to uniquely identify your business when you're doing those transactions, your display name, and then you can select whether it's a live or a test business. Now, as earlier mentioned, when you select a live business, it's going to be mapped to the FIRS production environment. If you select a test business, we'll map it to a sandbox environment that will help you explore the different DigiTax features. Now, once a business is added, you'll then have a card with these tags, so whether it's a test or a live business. And the tag also has the TIN number, the name of the business, date and time created, and also a serial number. Now, also mentioned that DigiTax is a multi-user dashboard, so you can manage members. So you can add as many members as you'd like to, and you can give them access to any business that you'd like to. So you can do that by adding their email address here and then selecting the role. So at the moment, we have 2 main defined roles. We have the admin. So an admin can add more members to the business. They can create transactions and they can also generate reports. And then as a regular member, this is mainly for auditors. So you can give them a regular permission so that they can just access the business, see the transactions that are being created, but they cannot alter those transactions. And then once that is selected, you can then select the business that you'd like them to have access to. So in this case, you can also do like a multi-select if you'd like them to have access to all these businesses. You can also manage members here by under the actions. You can view a member, you can edit the permissions for that particular member, and you can also remove the member from your business. So in this case, if it's an auditor and maybe their work is done for the month or for the quarter, you can also just remove them as the member so that they do not have access to your business anymore. So I can click on the business. And now I can see the features that we currently support. So we have the invoice feature where you can create your invoices. We have the downloads feature where you can see all the invoices that have been created by your suppliers. We have the credit notes tab where you can see all the credit notes you've created, all the debit notes you've created for your customers. You can also add parties. So parties are the customers that you're invoicing. And you can do that by either adding a party one by one by providing these required details if you don't have lots of parties. But if you do have very many parties and you'd like to add them to DigiTax, you can do a bulk upload. So with this, you can just like download a template. The template has sample data, the data points, the required and mandatory data points that you need to create a party on our end. So it will help as a guide just to make sure that you know what to add. And then it's a 2-step process. So once you have filled this in, you can then upload a CSV. Once uploaded, the data will look like this. So with the name, the tax identification number, the phone number, email, these 2 are optional. And then also under the actions, you can also edit anything if you'd like to edit. You can also add items. So these are the items that you sell, whether they are goods or services, you can also add them here. So the items, similar to the parties, you can add them one by one if you don't have many items, or you can also do a bulk upload. So two-step process as well, downloading the template. It has some pre-filled data with some examples, and then upload the CSV. And then for the technical department or the technical team who want to test the APIs or the businesses that are doing an integration, the integration tab is now mainly for the technical team, where they need to create an API key, because you need an API key to validate all the requests that you send via our API. Now, I will do a sample invoice, and then we can also take questions if we have any. So under the invoice page, we have 3 buttons. So you can add an invoice one by one. So similar again to the items and the parties. So I'll select the issue date as today. The due date is optional, but I'll select tomorrow. The invoice type. So we have quite a number of invoice types. This is the list of the invoice types supported by FIRS. So for the purpose of this demo, I'm going to choose the purchase order as the invoice type I want to create. The currency pre-selected Nigerian naira. If you have some notes, you can also add them here. So sample notes. And then the invoice items. So already we are assuming by the time you get to this point, you've already bulk uploaded your items or created them one by one on the dashboard. And then I can select the item, which prefills the unit price and the tax rate. The unit price is editable, so I can edit this to 9,000 naira. And then I can say the quantity is 1. If you have any discounts or additional fees that you'd like to apply, you can also add them, but they are optional. Then you add item to cart, then continue. If you're doing a B2B transaction, the party details are optional. If you're doing a B2C transaction, the party details are, sorry, let me repeat that. If you're doing a B2B transaction, the party details are required. If you're doing a B2C transaction, the party details are optional. So for the purpose of this demo, I'm going to assume you're doing a B2B. So I'll select the party details, which in this case, I've already bulk uploaded them or created them on the dashboard. So this prefills the phone number and the email address. And then I can select the delivery period. The start date is today. The end date is optional, but I'm going to select tomorrow. If you have a unique trader invoice number for your transactions, you can add them here. So this can either come from your ERP system or any accounting system. So for every invoice that you generate, it has a unique invoice number. So you can add it here. So I'm going to say it's the invoice start number. And then if you have any payment terms, so whether it's cash or credit or debit, if you have any payment reference, whether it's an order number or dispatch details, you can also add them here. Then I'll continue. I'll review the sale. You can review the sale, see your party details, your invoice details, the item that you're selling, the tax calculation, including the tax rate, the total tax amount, and also the total amount. If you'd like to edit something, you can always go back and edit. Now, if anything is okay, you can then submit invoice. So I'll click submit invoice, and that invoice is created. So once it's created, you can see the date and time the invoice was created, the IRN number that DigiTax as a system integrator generates, the invoice number that we provided, the amount, and then the invoice status as well. Now we can see that the invoice was successfully created. It was successfully validated, where we also generated the IRN number and QR code. It was successfully sent it to FIRS for signing, and that was successful, and eventually transmitted to the party because we selected Namiri Technology as the party. Now, you can also update the payment status to either paid or rejected. So if your buyer paid you successfully, you can mark it as paid. If the payment was rejected for a reason or another, you can also mark it as mark that transaction as rejected. Under the actions, you can also view an invoice. You can add a credit note directly and attach it to this invoice. You can add a debit note if you'd like to make an adjustment to an invoice. You can also view all the credit and also all the debit notes. Now I'll go ahead and view this invoice. So in the invoice, I have the QR code. So if I zoom this in, if you have the FIRS MBS 360 application and you scan this QR code, you're able to then validate this invoice. And then the invoice can also be downloaded, printed, or emailed to your customers. If you have your logo, it's going to be on the left-hand side of the invoice. And then you can also see the invoice details, including the item that you're selling, the tax rate, this is the tax breakdown with the total amount, the subtotal, and also the tax amount. Now, on the invoice page as well, similar to items and parties, you can also bulk upload invoices. So similar steps, downloading the template, sample data, input the data points, and then upload the CSV. You can also add your invoice logo so that it's visible on the invoice when you download it, print it, or email it to your customers. So you can just choose it from your system, drag and drop, or do an upload. Lastly, on this page, you can generate your reports. So once all your transactions for the week, month, or year are done, you can be able to select the period and then say last month, get pre-filled dates, and then the report is sent to the email address that has logged into the dashboard. So I believe I can pause there, see whether we have any questions before I hand it back to Belinda.
So we do have 2 questions.
Okay.
So Adeshina is asking, can profiles and businesses be created via API?
Thanks, Adeshina, for that question. So at the moment, we just support it on the dashboard, but there's a plan to also extend that into the API.
Okay, Adeshina, we hope that answers your question. They also ask, if a supplier creates an invoice using my team, does it automatically show up?
Yes, that's a great question. Yes, so you can see that you are under the downloads tab. So when the supplier creates an invoice for you, and also your supplier is enabled for e-invoicing. They already set up on FIRS for e-invoicing. When they create that transaction for you, you'll be able to see it here. So the format of that is the date, the ARN generated for that receipt. You will see your supplier details, that is the name and the tax identification number, the amount, invoice status marked as transmitted because you have successfully received it, and that's why it's visible on the dashboard, and then the payment status as well. So by default, it's pending, but once they have confirmed the payment or rejected the payment, you're able to then click confirm and then check whether it has been updated. Now this is an example. This payment was rejected. So if I click confirm, it will reflect as rejected. This one was paid, and then this one is still pending. So this is how it looks like. And then under the actions, you can also download that same invoice, print or email it, maybe for like audit purposes. And now this is the structure of the invoice. Now, the other thing is that downloads are also available on the API. So you can view it, you can view the data both on the API and also on the dashboard. I hope that answers your question, Adeshina. Okay, amazing. Any other questions from the team?
Oh, those are the only 2 questions on the chat. Unless anyone listening would like to ask their question vocally, just raise your hand and I can give you the mic.
Okay, if none, Belinda, I can hand it back to you. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending. We hope this that demo was helpful and also insightful. Back to you, Belinda.
Yeah, thanks, Rebecca. Maybe you can just, I can see one person has raised their hand. Let me give them the mic. Yeah, Additional, please go ahead. Additional, you can unmute and speak. You have the mic.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay, thank you. I added one more question. I guess you didn't notice it. I was asking because my potential use case is for an accounting software. So I want to know if DigiTax will make it easy for me to create these FIRS invoices on behalf of my customers, which would be the businesses.
Thank you. Rebecca?
Yeah, thank you. So yes, additional, this is possible. So let me just reshare my screen really quick. I want to showcase these invoices. Now, I did mention that FIRS supports quite a number of invoice types. So if you want to raise invoices on behalf of your suppliers, so you're using invoices on behalf of your suppliers, you can create a self-billed invoice. So it's one of the invoice types that are supported. So you can, instead of creating, in my case, I did choose a purchase order. So in your case, you'd have to choose the self-billed invoice. So this is both available.
Sorry. Sorry, I think you mistook. You didn't hear me clearly. I didn't say supplier. I said on behalf of my customers. Let's say I own an accounting platform, accounting software. I have businesses that use that software. So I want them to be able to transmit their businesses to FIRS through my platform and then through DigiTax. Is that possible?
Yes, that is possible. Yeah, it is possible. So what you'd have to do is just do the integration with your system, and then your system will then have the invoicing integration and the capabilities. And now your customers or your business, the businesses that you currently support on that accounting platform, would be able to raise the invoices. So it's a matter of just knowing and mapping out where exactly you want to plug in the integration, and then integrate with the API, and the other things will be seamless. And the process of creating the invoices will not change, at least based on depending on how you're going to do the integration. So the process will still be ongoing. It's not going to change in terms of at what point they generate the invoices. So everything else will be under the hood. Yeah, so that is possible using the API.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Thank you for that question. We also have Paul, who's raised their hand. Let me just give them the mic. Paul, if you can hear us, please go ahead.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hello? Yes.
We can hear you.
Are you giving us materials on this presentation?
Sorry, Paul. Pardon. Kindly come up again.
I said, can we be giving materials on the presentation?
Belinda,
do you have a material for it?
Yes, this material will be shared to you just after this call.
Okay.
Okay. Let me just check the chat. No new questions in the chat, so I'm assuming everyone's question has been addressed. For the materials, we're going to be sharing this webinar, this recorded webinar, to your emails. So be on the lookout for that, and we'll also share any relevant presentations and material that will be useful for you. So be on the lookout. I can see there's one hand up. Hannah, if you can hear us, I've given you the mic. Hannah, can you hear us? You have the mic. You can go ahead and ask your question. Hannah, we can't hear you. Maybe you can type your question in the chat. Rebecca, can you hear anyone speaking?
No, not really. I can hear you loud and clear, Belinda, but I can't hear Hannah if they're speaking.
Okay. Let me see if they've left in the chat. No. We have, okay, maybe as Hannah types the question, I can read the one in the chat.
Okay.
Additional is asking, final question. There is no pricing information on your online documentation. How do you charge for API usage?
Yeah, thanks for that question. So pricing is grouped into three. So we have an one-off integration fee, and then we also have the subscription fee, and we also have pricing per invoice model, if that is what the business would prefer. But in terms of pricing, we can also have someone get back to you on that, depending on also like the number of invoices that you generate on a monthly or annual basis, with like the actual figures. But the pricing models is in those three tiers. So I believe Belinda had shared how to reach us on our email, firsi@namiri.tech. So once you shoot an email, we're able to provide the more details around the pricing. But if you'd like us to also follow up with you, you can just drop your email, and then we'd be able to pick up that conversation with you.
Additional, we hope that answers your question. So please feel free to shoot us an email just to explore what options would suit your business. Hannah has said that they wanted to ask about the materials, but that has been addressed. Thank you. You're welcome. We'll be able to share everything that we have talked about today. You'll be able to rewatch the webinar again. So be on the lookout for that. In case you would like to reach out to us for further information, I have left our email on the chat. I can just retype it again, just for anyone who may have missed it. So please reach out to us. You can also follow us on social media, on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram at digitax.tech. And we also have a blog where we share relevant e-invoicing information. So in case you'd be interested to subscribe, I'm also going to leave the details to the blog in the chat. Maybe as I do that, Rebecca, you can also just leave the API docs on the chat for anyone who might want to have a look.
Yeah, absolutely. Copying that right now.
Fantastic.
Okay, I've shared a link to the API documentation. The chat.
Okay. Great. So thank you so much, everyone. I think, I can see more questions are coming in. Okay. No questions so far. So thank you so much, everyone, for making the time and joining us in this session. We will definitely be having regular webinars around this mandate. So in case you are still interested to learn more about it, or you want to know more about how it applies to your business, your organization, or the clients that you serve, or you just want to understand what solutions can work for your business or that are suitable for your business, please be on the lookout. We always share information on our social media pages on when the next webinar series will be. And we'll also share any materials that we think you may find relevant via email. So if you signed up to the webinar, just be assured that you will receive these materials. And without much further ado, unless there's anything from you, Rebecca.
All good on my end, Belinda. Thank you for organizing this webinar, and also thank you to all the attendees and also for the questions. As Belinda has mentioned, feel free to reach out to us if you'd like more context on this, or if you'd like another demo. For now, thank you, and have a great afternoon. Cheers, everyone.
Thanks, Rebecca. All right, goodbye, everyone. We'll give you back your day, and we'll see you on the next one. Cheers.